Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar, BlueJeans and TicketSocket, Experiential Webcasting and Ticketed Events. My name is Maggie Bliss and I will be your moderator this morning. Today I'm joined by Justin McKeffey, who's our BlueJeans Product Marketing Manager, and Ashley Klein, the EVP of Client Strategy at TicketSocket. So before we kick things off, there's a few housekeeping items I'd like to go over. First, we are using BlueJeans events and you are as an attendee in a one-way viewing experience. So what that means is that if you look on your right side of your screen, you'll see our navigation bar. The third icon down is the moderator chat feature. So if you have any technical issues, please post them there and I'll be able to address those as quickly as possible. And the last icon is our Q&A chat feature. So if you have any questions for Justin or Ashley today, please post them there and we'll address them at the end of the presentation. Lastly, this is being recorded, so I'll send it to everyone after the event. With that, I'll pass it to you, Justin.
All right, Maggie, thank you so much, and thank you to everybody that has joined us today. We are excited to get to talk to you. My name is Justin McKeffey. As Maggie mentioned, I'm in the product marketing department here at BlueJeans and joined by Ashley Klein, who is from TicketSocket, and we're going to speak through some of these different ticketing options and experiential event options and opportunities out there as we move into this on-site cancellation world and push a lot more things into the virtual environment online. So a quick breakdown of the agenda. We'll go through the product introductions, learn a little bit more about TicketSocket. I'll also explain a little bit more about BlueJeans events. We'll talk through some of those on-site event challenges, and then we'll create a distinction between traditional marketing webinars versus ticketed events. We'll also talk through some of the features needed for these really experiential events so that all attendees have a memorable and unforgettable experience. And then we'll end with how the integration works and some of the use cases involved between TicketSocket and BlueJeans events. Think of it as live streaming with revenue generation opportunities. And so more on that in just a moment. But before we get into the rest of it, I just want to introduce Ashley. And Ashley, please tell folks a little bit more about TicketSocket.
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you, Justin, for the introduction. Excited to chat through this partnership a lot more and show everyone what exactly it is that we have to offer here. So TicketSocket is a white label ticketing and registration platform. And essentially what that means is you have full control over every aspect of your brand. TicketSocket brand never appears to your customers. It's completely white labeled with your branding. You have full control over your money, which means we set you up with your own merchant processing, and the money when ticket sales come in goes immediately into your bank account. We never hold it and pay you out later. You also have full control over your ticketing fees, as well as all of your data. You own all of your customer data. It's never shared. We never remarket other events to your customers. And you also own your technology. So the TicketSocket framework allows for a lot of flexibility and customization that allows you to create workflows that is best suited for your business. We do a lot of virtual events. We do esports, festivals, time ticketing, if you're familiar with attractions, museum type events, sports, and a lot more. So thank you. I'm going to throw it back to Justin, but if you kind of think of TicketSocket as your online box office, you could consider BlueJeans your virtual venue.
A great way of putting it, exactly. So TicketSocket is the pay gate or the pay entrance, and then BlueJeans events is the actual virtual venue where attendees file in and they watch the presentation or whoever it is on stage, either for presentation in a traditional marketing sense or even some of those ticketed events. And we'll go into more detail on that in just a moment. So just a snapshot at a glance, what is BlueJeans events? It's a virtual venue for large-scale interactive live streaming. We offer this either as a self-service model or a managed solution designed to create high-impact, production-grade experiences. And a quick line between those two things, self-service meaning you can either buy one of these events at a time or unlimited events and either set the entire thing up, organize it yourself, schedule it yourself, host it yourself, or call on the BlueJeans Events Assist team, and we will offer you white glove assistance the entire way through, pre, during, and post-event. And then finally, these are experiential events that captivate audiences through multi-presenter HD video, Dolby Voice audio, and modernized engagement features. And a quick look at some of our customers who we're happy to have and list through here. I'll just make mention that this host of customers here that I've listed either use BlueJeans events for the internal streaming purposes like large town halls, or even the external streaming purpose like for customer presentations and brand awareness and outreach and things like that. And so with that, I'm going to launch into some of these field event challenges that we've experienced. We've, as in, yes, the BlueJeans team, but also everybody that has relied on revenue generation and pipeline generation from some of these on-site events. So obviously the coronavirus and the COVID world that we live in has caused a lot of us to have to transition into the online streaming environment. And so maybe you've noticed that. Maybe you've received a few more BlueJeans emails than normal. It's because we've had to reshuffle and rethink our plans for the summertime and beyond in terms of, those on-site events like trade shows and keynotes and even customer happy hours and things like that. We've had to move that into this webcasting or webinar environment. So without doing that, we lose out on these brand awareness challenges. There's no opportunity to nurture prospects and customers, and obviously sales performance is impacted negatively. And so that kind of goes across the board for any marketing department or for any IT department that's responsible for some of the technical aspects of these on-site events. You've got to come up with an alternative, because if you don't, you lose out on the opportunity to get your message and perhaps your services out to the world in an interactive setting. And so now I'll explain a little bit about marketing webinars. And so probably a term that you're familiar with already. We're all on a marketing webinar right now, but I'll also explain a little bit about how this is different than a ticketed event. So think of these as branded virtual live streaming that are generally free events. You do have to enter your registration data. You have to at least enter some attendee information, but it's free of cost. We've seen that these are generally for the purposes of business-to-business presentations. So the representatives that are watching on the call, the attendees, they represent different businesses, either in the IT org or part of the operations org. Occasionally, you'll see these marketing webinars in the business-to-consumer space, but most of the time it is for business-to-business purposes. On the one hand, these different marketing webinars can be kind of a soft touch with the purposes of thought leadership or brand awareness or different customer advocacy programs. And then on the other side, you've got more of a sales pitch type of a format where the company is launching a brand new product. They want to bring people in. They want to generate interest about that product. It could be about service enhancements or maybe some portfolio upgrade that they're announcing, or possibly these highly targeted campaigns to customers and prospects that they know will be interested in the content. So that's a traditional marketing webinar, and then take that and maybe make a little bit of a differentiation from some of these external broadcasts for showcase and customer activation purposes. So this is where TicketSocket and BlueJeans come in together. Ticketed entry, immersive demonstration, and entertainment. Commonly, these are more business to consumer type presentations. Occasionally, you'll see the business to business type of audience involved in these different presentations, but just to get kind of the ideas flowing and maybe jog your interest a little bit about some of these things. Think about concerts, festivals, types of hobbyist types of events and things like that. Maybe VIP and backstage events, mix and mingle socials where lots of people are meeting and learning more about a product or getting a really intimate demonstration about whatever it is, whatever product or service that the company offers. Or paid keynote speeches, maybe a celebrity or some thought leadership expert that represents an industry. They're giving a presentation and you'd like to gate entry and charge folks to actually watch that presentation. You can also have exclusive and limited release type of product launches where only a small group of some of your customers are invited to it, or just a small group of your target audience that you'd like to attend the event. You require them to pay to get in, or different media and viewing parties where there actually is some ticketed access that's required. So just a quick summary about those two marketing webinars. Obviously, that's something that we can do with BlueJeans events, and with the help of TicketSocket, we can do these showcase and customer activation events with BlueJeans by connecting the two products. So even though these two different use cases are quite different, on the one hand, you've got free access through a marketing webinar, and then on the other hand, you've got paid access through these ticketed events. They do still share a few things in common. I mean, if the goal of these different presentations and streaming events is to generate interest and captivate the audience and pull them into this experience, well, first and foremost, you've got to have interactive video. You've got to pull them in with a highly compelling presentation through HD video. You need moderator control for anybody that's organizing and managing the back end. So they've got a 360-degree view of everything that's going on, from whether or not presenters can be seen on camera, or whether or not performers can be seen on camera, or if they need to mute certain people that have joined on the panel. Fast registration options. You've got to make it seamless for people to jump into your event and experience the content or the showcase. Simple scheduling and easy to use types of tools for the event organizers and event producers, and then branding and customization features. And then a quick split as well. On the one side, on the marketing use case, there is the need for marketing automation integrations with different solutions out there. You've got to have the ability to qualify different leads, either through poll questions or Q&A and chat and even post-event surveys. You've got to have the ability to record and then repurpose the content for later for on-demand viewing. And you also need the ability to follow up with attendees based on who attended your event. And then on the other side, for these ticketed events, you've got to create a seamless branded experience, white labeled, so that the folks that enter their payment information and their registration information, all of it is branded so that it represents whatever product or service it is that you're showcasing. So they land on that page and they can see your brand only, so that they know exactly what it is they're signing up for. Unique join links for paid attendees. That's what Ashley mentioned. In other words, you can't just share the link around so that the world can enter your paid access event. It's a unique join link only for the folks that actually paid to get in. The ability to participate and be a part of these big, large consumer type events or large streaming events, and also revenue dashboards so that you know how much money you generated when you put a gate in front of the content or the entertainment or live showcases that you are hosting. So finally, that brings us to BlueJeans events and TicketSocket. So I'm going to do a quick little walkthrough about how the integration works. On the one hand, as I mentioned, video interactivity, joining from any device, download free access, moderator control, and highly scalable. That's what we offer with BlueJeans events. And so once you enable this integration with TicketSocket on the back end, all you do as the event organizer is you log into your TicketSocket account. You actually schedule the BlueJeans event within TicketSocket. That calls our API. It schedules the event for you. And then every other step of the process when it comes to branding and customization and creating landing pages, all of that is completely marketed however you want it to be. You can add your logos and your color schemes and customize it so that when people register and pay for your event, all of that is completely white labeled so that they know what it is they're signing up for, as I mentioned. So that's how those two things work together. And I'd like to learn a little bit more. Ashley, can you please talk folks through maybe some of these use cases and give folks ideas about how you can use the two solutions together?
Yeah, certainly. So one question that I am frequently asked, and I actually think, jumping ahead, but I see this popping in already in the Q&A section, is how does this work in a way where someone, of course, cannot share the link, which you touched on the last slide. And if you can kind of see here in the second picture where there's a checkout flow, we're capturing, important information that you need for your event, name, email address, and you can see that this ticket in particular even has multiple attendees. So what we do is, as you mentioned with the integration on the back end and generating unique links, is we get all of the attendee information, and when they finish checking out and paying for their ticket, they're emailed their receipt and ticket confirmation. And within that, they have their own unique link. And so we make it clear to them that this is their link. They cannot share it. If they do share it, they won't be able to join the link if someone else does. And if there's multiple attendees that someone is purchasing tickets for, let's say someone's buying 4 tickets, we'll generate 4 different links that they would use to join the event. So I think that's really important to understand is because it's a lot of hesitation in creating a virtual event because you don't want to work so hard and all this marketing and sell tickets just for someone to go out and distribute it to anyone who wants to join. And so we have thought through that process with BlueJeans and have come up with a way to dynamically create unique links that people join for each. Great. So the other thing I want to touch on is just what kind of events can you take virtual? I know, Justin, you touched on a lot of different B2C and B2B type events. And because of COVID, our customers have gotten so creative with the kind of virtual events that they've put on. And so I just want to talk through some of those ideas to get your brain thinking a little bit outside of the box and how you could think through a virtual event for your business, no matter what it is. And the thing I want to say about that is with COVID, obviously we had a lot of clients who were scrambling to figure out how to keep their revenue stream coming in and how could they make their event virtual, not knowing, when life will resume back to normal. And in this, we've learned with a lot of our customers that this virtual piece they're creating is here to stay. It's not just a Band-Aid for this COVID world we're living in right now. This virtual aspect will continue to be a part of our lives now, even after all of this is over. And so I think that's important to think about because even if your business was not affected by COVID or you just are gonna hold it out and wait till you can resume back to in-person events, I really think you should challenge yourself to think about some sort of virtual event that you could still host, or maybe it's just a virtual aspect or add-on to your regular event type. So just some ideas that we've seen some of our clients do. We do a lot of circuses and performance type events, and a lot of them took their actual show and still streamed it to an empty audience in person, but they sold tickets for a live stream, which worked out really well because families were still looking for ways to join together with their kids and watch something unique and still enjoy something outside of the box. And so I thought that was really great how they quickly pivoted their businesses to create a virtual experience, which will continue to be an add-on and evolved along the way. Even after this. We do a lot of sporting events. So we have, obviously, a lot of our sporting events too aren't widely streamed on channels like ESPN. So it was important for them to think through how they could still allow spectators to watch the event even though they cannot come in person. So we had a lot of that. And I think some of the more creative ones have been these endurance type events and museums and attractions who have figured out how to sell live stream tickets and still, if it's an obstacle course race, what some of them had done was they would do live stream coaching and then challenge them to go out and complete the tasks over the next, couple weeks, and they had awards and bonuses along the way. So I thought that was really unique and interesting. So I would love to hear any ideas that anyone else has that they've seen creative and unique. But I'm going to throw it back to you, Justin. We're going to get to everyone's questions very shortly. But
Fantastic. And interesting points that you brought up too, Ashley, because obviously there's a component of this whole thing that is really time period specific. If you've had no choice but to adjust your event plans because they have been canceled on site, there's an alternative play there. Like, what are you going to do if you can't host an on-site event, but you still need to generate interest and direct revenue from these ticketed events? Well, you need to shift online. So that means you're coming up with an alternative plan because things are canceled. But then even after we get over this very strange time period right now, there's a complementary value story, I think, with this whole thing. Meaning, let's say your on-site event, venue that you've booked can only host a certain number of people, but you'd still like to extend the invitation to other folks online. Well, what stops you from inviting other folks to watch the virtual aspect of it also, the online streaming component of it also? So it is an alternative for right now, but I think moving forward, there's a larger revenue generation opportunity if you add this complementary service for folks that are on the other side of the country. They can't make it to your event, but they've got the web link to join instead. So something to think about as well, right?
Yeah.
And fantastic. Yeah, just super interesting stuff, Ashley. Thank you for all of that. And I just want to encourage everybody, please, if you have questions, anything that we have talked about streaming, ticketed events, experiential events, paid access, use cases, scalability, those type of things, don't be shy, please chat in your questions. And with that, I'm going to send it back over to Maggie for this Q&A.
Hi guys, can you still see and hear me? Can we hear you, Justin? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
For a second.
Hear you okay.
Perfect. Okay, we have some questions that have come in. Let's start. So can you go through the process a little bit more of what happens to the customer when they buy on TicketSocket and then they do the event on BlueJeans?
Sure. I can at least, why don't you take the TicketSocket part, Ashley, and then I'll follow with the BlueJeans part?
Yes. So essentially what happens is when someone is going through the checkout process in TicketSocket, you're already connected on the back end of BlueJeans. So as that purchase is made, on the back end, we're dynamically creating a unique link for them to join via BlueJeans on the event date. And so after their purchase with their ticket confirmation and receipt, they're then emailed that information.
Great. And then once they click on that join link after they've purchased access to the event, they simply click on the link and join via any browser that they'd like to. There's no download. They would watch from within the BlueJeans events streaming experience.
Perfect. And then someone asked, can BlueJeans be white labeled like TicketSocket?
For sure, different components of it can be. For instance, see in the lower left, if you're an attendee viewing, whoever asked that question, look in the lower left, see BlueJeans and Dolby Voice. Those types of watermarks and in-app logos can be adjusted. And so if you'd like to add your company logo instead of ours, that's easy. That's a few clicks away in the admin portal when you set the whole thing up. And the same is true for all of the event invitation emails and confirmations that come from the TicketSocket side. But at least if it is your goal to keep your brand centric for the viewing experience, you can definitely do that inside BlueJeans.
Awesome. And then Ashley, this one's for you. DJ asked, what has been the most positive outcome as a result of COVID for TicketSocket?
Sure. What a fun question. So a couple of things come to mind for me right away. One, at TicketSocket, we work very closely with all of our clients. We don't just set them up with a system and tell them to enjoy, have fun. We actually come on and consult a lot with them in different aspects. Me primarily, I work with all of our clients to assure that they have rock solid marketing strategies that will increase their sales. So one of the positive outcomes, I think, has been working very closely with all of our clients and sitting down and just brainstorming with them. One, how do they get through this time period of just being able to create some sort of sale, some sort of virtual event, app, whatever it may be. So that kind of consulting and getting to know them on an even deeper level has been really fun for me. Secondly, really positive outcome with all of this is it really brought to light what TicketSocket is all about, being white labeled and controlling all of your own branding, your data, your money. We signed a lot of new business during this difficult period because of the fact that a lot of events were tied up in other ticketing systems that essentially held on to their funds and their money. So they lost access to their money, they lost access to their database to, really get out there and market a new type of event. So that was kind of a positive outcome for us, just being able to, really show people the importance of owning your own brand, data, money, technology.
Wonderful. And then Matt asks, this is for you, Justin, can BlueJeans be used independently of TicketSocket? And say they're using something else, do we have other integrations?
We do. We have got a series of integrations in this space specifically. Depends on what type of event you're hosting, but we've got a Salesforce integration. We've got a Marketo integration that helps with your event invitations and follow-up process. And then we also have the Splash integration, and that's something we're excited about as well. It's not the same as TicketSocket, though. It's a branding and customization platform. And so similarly on the back end, you schedule the event through Splash, and then every single component, every touch point of the invitation process and the event join process and even the follow-up process, it's all white labeled through Splash if you're trying to get folks to register. That's not a payment option. It's just a registration and customization tool that we integrate with.
Awesome. And then Rick says, do moderator and presenter links get in without paying for a ticket, so without cost?
I mean, I'll take at least how I understand that question. If I think the answer is yes. The short answer is yes. It seems to me like you're charging attendees to view a concert or a type of a festival or some type of exclusive customer gathering. Those are the folks that are paying versus the presenters. They've agreed to join you there. I mean, I think you'd work it out case by case, but the beauty, I'll give you this as well. The beauty of having a BlueJeans event is that if you're sending your invitations out to a large group of people, you've got one link specific for attendees and then a link specific for presenters and then a link specific for moderators. So you just wouldn't have any gated access for presenters and moderators.
Perfect. And then is it possible to add advertising to events that also generate additional revenue? So I guess actually, are there advertising components on your platform? And then Justin, do we have any on ours?
Yeah, so from the TicketSocket side, again, you control all of your branding, the way the page looks, it all lives on your domain, everything. So you have full opportunity to add in sponsor logos and content where you see fit throughout the process. All of our stuff is fully customizable. So even your confirmation receipts and your e-tickets and everything that gets sent through the TicketSocket system to your customer is all customizable. So we have a lot of events who utilize that e-ticket and receipt confirmation content to input sponsor related content as well. And then I'll throw it to Justin, but I think on the virtual experience live stream area, I mean, you can have sponsor logos where you see fit. You can cut to little commercials and mentions and that sort of thing.
Exactly. Yep, that's exactly how I would put it. Either maybe just right again in the bottom left with the logos, brought to you by Acme, company X, whoever it is that's sponsoring the event. You could add that there, but then throughout the presentation, throughout the live stream, if you have pre-uploaded videos and different media that you want to share, play it back just like Ashley said, like a commercial. Just you could literally throw to it like a TV commercial, like hold for 1 second, please hear from our sponsor, play the video back to folks, and then on the other side, you're right back on camera with your company showcasing what it is you came to talk about.
Perfect. And then Jay says, I am currently a TicketSocket customer, and he is hosting a series of workshops virtually several days a week. Is there a way to make the events reoccurring weekly without changing every individual component?
Yes, I think I understood that correctly. It's a reoccurring event. Yeah, that's no problem. Just reach out to us. We'll help you set that up.
And then Kayla says, if we are already a member of BlueJeans, what are the costs of adding TicketSocket?
Sure. Kayla. If you just reach out to TicketSocket, we would get you set up, learn more about your event, and essentially how we charge for our services is just a per ticket fee. So it's very nominal, and it's very competitive against any other ticketing system.
Perfect. I think that's all the questions we have. So thank you everyone for attending. Thank you, Ashley, for being here, Justin, for presenting. If you guys have any more questions, please respond to the follow-up email. We will put you in touch with Ashley. We will put you in touch with Justin, anything you need. And I will send out the recording either this afternoon or tomorrow morning. So thanks so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.